So I brought my friend a plate up at the store where he worked at because he had to work on Thanksgiving. So I'm gonna get his reaction, y'all. Here we go. He getting in there. He going in for the kill.
For the mac and cheese.
Bussin'.
That's good.
Woo!
What? Collard greens.
Yes. Well, I'm glad he loves it, y'all. This is my buddy there. I call him D-Mac. I'm going to let him enjoy his food. Say hi to the Zesty Pooh Crew in the building.
He's a bomb cook.
All right, folks. You know what time it is, so let's get started on our mac and cheese. So what I like to do is I like to take my cold butter and go ahead and grate it down. That's right, I'm going to grate it down. So I have a stick, and I'm only going to use a tablespoon. So a stick and a tablespoon. I'm going to start with that first. And I am going to be grating it into my bowl because everything going in here anyway. And like, honestly, this little piece can't be grated, but it's too big to just throw in there. So I just use it to grease my pan before I put the macaroni and cheese in. And that's just to help it to not stick. I'm going to go over the cheeses and everything I'm putting in a minute. And I'm also going to leave all the ingredients at the bottom. So no fear, Zesty's here to the rescue. Next, I'm going to grate in my Velvetta. Velvetta is really soft. You can actually cube it. I'm just being a little lazy today. And I hope it works. If it don't work, then I might have to cube it. I put it in the refrigerator so it can firm up. Because Velvetta, yeah, I'm going to have to, this ain't working. Daggone it. I thought I was going to get to be lazy today, guys. Nope. So it looks like I'm going to have to cube it. And don't worry, because when I put the cold milk in there, it's going to all come together. You'll see. So I'm going to go ahead and cube this Velvetta down because this ain't going to work. And I don't want to take the chance of my butter melting while I'm doing this. So I'm going to go ahead and cube it down. While I'm cubing this down, I did go ahead and put the butter in the freezer so it won't melt. I was just a little paranoid because I was really dead set on this working. So you want to make sure you just cut it in little squares off the block. And then you want to cut it down in little bitty squares. Because the objective of this is to get that cheese flowing through every single bite of your mac and cheese. So you're going to end up with a bunch of little cubes like so. Alright, so what you see is the butter, and now you see the cubed up Velvetta. Now I'm getting ready to start shaving down my other cheeses. I have some Colby N Monterey Jack, which I'm going to shave down a cup of it. Then I'm going to do a half a cup of mild cheese. And that's going to be it as far as the cheeses. So I have a Colby that I'm going to shred down. Colby and Jack, rather. So I also have a pound of elbow macaroni and cheese. You can use whatever noodles you want. And I'm only going to boil them al dente. So probably about 5 to 6 minutes max. Oh, and make sure you heavily salt your water. Now I'm just beating up these 3 eggs. I usually do not like to crack my eggs over my macaroni because it's so much white with the butter and the Monterey Jack cheese. I don't want to confuse it with a shell and have people biting in the shells. So I'm going to go ahead and pour my egg mixture in as follows. Now I'm going to hit it with 1 cup of milk and 2 cups of carnation milk. So I have 2 cans of evaporated milk over here that I'm going to crack open. There's that carnation milk. Funny story, I thought carnation milk, before I knew how to cook, I thought carnation milk was sweetened condensed milk. And I volunteered to make the macaroni and cheese. Everybody was like, why is it so sweet? Woo, those were the days. So now I'm going to add a cup of milk. Here's that cup of milk. And now I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of sour cream. 1, 2. So now I'm just going to give this a nice little mix. It's easier to do it with a fork. You can do it with a whisk if you want, but I like to get mine broke down real good. And now you see how that butter is going all throughout the mix. That's what you want. That's why I didn't want to put it in there in the little chunks. I like it grated better now. I just play around with it, to be honest with you. So now this is where I'm gonna start mixing in my flavor. Here's my garlic powder. And honestly, I go liberal with the garlic powder. I like about a good tablespoon of garlic powder. If you don't like yours garlicky, you do not have to do that. This is just my preference. And about a teaspoon of onion powder. Now, I'm going to add some ground mustard. And I'm going to hit it with about a teaspoon of ground mustard. Ground mustard is optional as well. I'm telling you, like, you can season it however to your liking. This is just what I like. And I usually go liberal with paprika. Honestly, paprika is just for color. I don't even know why I add it, but it don't feel right when it's not in there. Now I'm adding some black pepper. And I usually start out with about a teaspoon. We like black pepper. And I'm going to add in about a teaspoon of salt. Not too much, because remember, the water that the noodles are boiled in is heavily salted. So you don't want it to be too salted. And I usually check mine for the smell. I'm also going to add a teaspoon of sugar. It won't make it sweet, I promise you. It's just to offset some of the saltiness from the cheeses. Here's that teaspoon of sugar. And this is our mix. Now, if I don't smell my garlic powder, I usually put more in. But again, that's just the way I like it. I love it. So it smells like that's perfect. I can't taste it. I could, but it has raw eggs, so I'm not going to do that. So now we're going to pan it up. I do have my oven on 350. That's what you want it on. And I usually give mine between 30 and 35 minutes. And I rotate it halfway through, so that way it can cook evenly. And if you have a real good oven, then you don't really have to worry about it. You should be good, but I have to rotate mine. All right, now I'm just going to add my pasta. Now, I do rinse my pasta off once it's done cooking. I rinse it in cold water, so that way it's not cooking whenever I mix it all together. So you want to make sure you incorporate everything together. Everything is at an even temperature, so it should all cook at an even temperature. So I did butter my pan over here beside me, just with that little piece of butter. You don't need that much butter, because you know you have butter running all throughout this mac and cheese. So, you know, and then you have the oils from the cheese. So, it's a little hot, look at that. All right, so I'm gonna put it in my pan. So here we go. Get all that cheesy goodness. And see, had I had to put my noodles in while it was warm, everything would have been melted. And you know, I grated that butter, so I did not want to melt my butter down. So now I'm going to just evenly distribute it across the pan. And then I'm going to top it off with my sharp cheddar and a little bit of Monterey Jack, because I have like literally 2 pieces of each left. So now I'm just going to add a little pepper to the top. This is optional again. This is just because I like the way it looks once it bakes in that cheese. And I'm going to add a little bit of salt. Just a little bit. Just across the top. And a little bit of paprika. Just for color. Because when that cheese gets nice and bubbly, perfecto. Alright guys, I literally just took it out of the oven. And I wanted you to see it. It's creamy. It's crispy. I like my burnt edge just like so. And this is it. I'm not going to cut into it, because I don't want it to ooze out per se. I like to let it set for at least 15 minutes. And then I cut into it. So, I love you guys. Hope you like this recipe. Give it a try yourself. And until next time, peace out.